Hello, and I hope all is well for you today. And in this population-based series, we will be discussing anything from articles to news reports, potential conspiracy theories, and assessing population data. So if that's something you're interested in, hopefully you will enjoy this dialogue. And in this episode, we will be talking about population data. In this episode, we will be talking about the populations of Kenya and Papua New Guinea. Kenya is located in eastern Africa and bordering the Indian Ocean. Papua New Guinea is part of Oceania, which is a group of islands including the eastern half of the island of New Guinea. These are located between the Coral Sea and South Pacific Ocean. According to the World Factbook, Kenya is filled with natural resources such as limestone, soda ash, salt, gemstones, fluorspar, zinc, diatomite, gypsum, hydropower, and has rich wildlife. According to AZO Mining, it states, the country is gearing up to move from an agriculture and tourism-based economy to one that is based on mineral resources. According to the World Factbook, Papua New Guinea is filled with resources such as gold, copper, silver, natural gas, timber, oil, and their fisheries. According to Ethnologue, Kenya contains 61 living indigenous languages and 7 living non-indigenous languages. According to Ethnologue, Papua New Guinea contains 839 living indigenous languages and 1 non-indigenous language. According to rightforeducation.org, Kenya contains 42 official tribes. According to Survival International, Papua contains 312 tribes, and included within that number are those who are uncontacted tribes. According to the World Factbook, 56.8% of Kenyan women, representing the ages 15 through 49, are currently married. According to the World Factbook, 65.5% of Papuan women between the ages of 15 through 49 are currently married. World Factbook, Age Structure. Kenya. 36.45% of Kenya's age structure is found in 0 to 14 years. 60.26%, 15 to 64 years. 3.28%, 65 years and older. Thus, the majority of Kenya's population would be found in the ages 15 through 64 age range. Papua New Guinea. 37.34% of Papua's age structure is 0 to 14 years old. 58.75% is between the ages of 15 and 64 years old. 3.9% of Papua New Guinea's population is 65 years and over. The majority of Papua's age structure will be found in the ages 15 through 64 years. According to the World Factbook, the median age of Kenya is 20 years old. The median age of Papua is 24 years old. Kenya's growth rate is 1.98%. Papua New Guinea's growth rate is 2.6%, with a high number of Papua's population having what is referred to as a youth bulge, meaning that their youth population outnumbers their elderly population in a massive way. According to World Population Review, Kenya ranks 26 in the world's most populated countries. Papua New Guinea ranks 92. According to World Population Review, there is a net gain of 1 person every 29 seconds in Kenya. there is a net gain of 1 person every 2.82 minutes in Papua New Guinea. Gross reproduction rate, as per the World Factbook, states, the average number of daughters born alive that a group of women would have in their lifetime if the age-specific fertility rate were to apply to them in a given period, usually a calendar year. It is a measure of replacement fertility that indicates whether the current generation of daughters will replace the preceding generation of women. If the number is equal to 1, the women will replace themselves. If the number is more than 1, the next generation of women will outnumber the current one. If the number is less than 1, the generation of women will be less numerous than the current one. The gross reproduction rate of Kenya is 1.6, which means that since Kenyans' gross reproduction rate is 1.6, that's equal and more than 1. And if we were to say it's equal, the women will replace themselves. And if you want to say that 1.6 is more than 1, you can say that the next generation of Kenyan women will outnumber the current generation of Kenyan women. So they have a sustainable population. The gross reproduction rate of Papua New Guinea is 1.88. which means that the current generation of Papuan women will be outnumbered by their daughters, which represent the next generation of Papuan women. So Papua New Guinea has a sustainable population. According to Worldometer, a total fertility rate represents the replacement level fertility. Replacement level fertility is the average number of children born per woman needed for each generation to replace itself without the need for international immigration. A value at 2.1 is a sustainable population. A value below 2.1 means that the population is in decline. A value above 2.1 is a sustainable population. The total fertility rate of Kenya is more than 2.1. The total fertility rate of Kenya is at 3.2 births per woman. The total fertility rate of Papua New Guinea is more than 2.1. The total fertility rate of Papua New Guinea is at 3.1 births per woman. According to World Population Review, there is a birth every 21 seconds in Kenya. There is a birth every 2.7 minutes in Papua. According to World Population Review, there are 4,116 births per day in Kenya. There are 695 births per day in Papua New Guinea. Let's look at the current populations of Kenya and Papua New Guinea as per World Population Review, and this for 2023. Kenya is at 55,240,973 people. Papua New Guinea is at 10,353,893 people. Now let us look at Kenya and Papua New Guinea's population forecast as per World Population Review for the years 2030, 2040, and 2050. Starting with Kenya, by the year 2030, Kenya's population is expected to increase to 63,103,942. By the year 2040, it is expected to increase to 74,757,978. By 2050, Kenya's population is expected to increase to 85,211,739. Now on to Papua New Guinea. By the year 2030, Papua New Guinea's population is expected to rise to 11,615,322. By the year 2040, Papua New Guinea's population is expected to rise to 13,362,082. And by the year 2050, Papua New Guinea's population is expected to rise to 14,910,369. Well, that is all we have for today's episode. And I hope you enjoyed this discussion, where we looked at the populations of Kenya and Papua New Guinea. Thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for more.